Good morning students, welcome to EPG Pathshala of Informetrics. My name is Professor A.Y. Asundi, retired professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Bangalore University, Bangalore. We are going to start with a new unit, the analysis of circulation data and quantitative evaluation of collection. This particular unit consists of the analysis of the circulation data or the circulation transactions and the objectives of the module, then the introduction to the module, and different kinds of studies undertaken on the circulation data and the evaluation of the collection and the application of this particular evaluation data for the collection development. Now, let us look at the objectives of this particular study. It highlights how to quantify the circulation data. Normally we see that circulation data is quite a neglected one. Lot of information is generated in the transactions of the books across the counter. For instance, each transaction record consists of several variables. For example, when you charge a book across the counter, each transaction consists of several data elements like the name and the title of the book, the name of the author, the call number, the accession number, the name of the borrower, the date of issue, the period for which it is issued, the date of return, and when the book is actually returned. When we are transacting a book across the counter, we do not realize that each transaction consists of several such variables, and these variables can be reckoned for the evaluation of the transactions as well as for the collection building. So, this particular module analyzes the circulation data and uses this quantitative data for the evaluation of collection and also for building an useful and user oriented collection for the library.
The circulation section is the section which comes the most in contact with users of the library. The study of circulation data had been carried out earlier without any serious purpose. The Pittsburgh study and the 80:20 rule have been the eye-openers for effective application of circulation data analysis in collection development, management, and evaluation. As stated by Truswell, the statistic of last circulation date has the potential in the quantitative method and thinning stacks. One of the important applications of circulation data is found useful in the evaluation of collection. The quantitative studies on collection evaluation have been quite extensive in the past in the context of physical library environment. The analysis of circulation data has been now facilitated in the Integrated Library Management Systems, also called ILMS, or the library automation packages, as they can analyze the data from different angles. The data can be used for the evaluation of the collection too. In Unit 3, we have dealt with the usage data compiled by some software tools like Counter and Sushi. Nowadays, it is also considered for evaluation electronic resources at consortia levels too. So IFLA has come out with some useful guidelines for the evaluation of e-resources which can be accessed from the website. In addition to these, the importance, need, and standards and types of library statistics are also discussed. Then, the concept of librometry is introduced and highlighted.
We have enumerated the elements of the circulation transaction record. It consists of name of the library or the institution and other details like the address, telephone number, website address, and so on and so forth. The bibliographic details of the book borrowed, the personal and official details of the borrower, the date of borrowing, the due date, and the date of return, and number of times a book is issued to the borrower. The circulation transaction record consists of several variables and help in decision making in the context of the collection development. The content of statistical data on circulation work is of the very high magnitude. For example, in an institution, if there are about 5,000 readers, each reader his own data, the data about the book that he has borrowed consists of about 500 bytes of data. If there are 5,000 readers and each one of the reader is borrowing 5 books, then you can see the magnitude of data that is collected and stored in your computer or in your library computer. And this particular magnitude of data has to be analyzed for improvement of the library services and the collection development and the collection evaluation. It is stated that analysis of the circulation data gives information related to the volume of use by the type of the document, by the type of the user, and by type of the library. So the circulation data or circulation transactions has enormous value as it can be used for several purposes in the library.
So far, we have seen the circulation from the point of view of items borrowed. Another parameter that can also stand for analysis is the point of view of the borrower. What readers use what kind of books from the library? Whether users borrow books from diverse disciplines, and so on. Some of the contact libraries, like the British Library, make use of such data in their acquisition policies. Literature review on circulation analysis. In this slide, we have made a study of some important papers on circulation data analysis. Let's look at each of these. The first is Truswell's 80:20 rule, which says that approximately 20% of a library holdings will account for about 80% of circulation. The second important paper is by Turner. He evolved identifier method and developed rules in non-library oriented areas for identification of low use items, which is desirable. The next significant contribution on circulation data analysis was made by Morse. Morse has shown that the distribution of number of times a book is issued follows a Poisson distribution. Ravichandra Rao and Burrell have shown that for a large set of data, the distribution of transactions follows a negative binomial mode. Rao has also shown that transaction of documents over a period of time manifests success breeds success phenomena. Truswell later revised his studies and identified the idle time of a document. It is defined as the time gap between the date of last circulation and the current date. For example, if a book was used 20 times 20 years ago and another book has been used only once a week ago, then it is quite likely that chances of the circulation of the latter book in the near future are much higher than the chances of the former. So another revised interpretation was made about the circulation data, which went, it is only those documents which are circulated recently that are likely to be circulated again and again.
The number of case studies have been made on the analysis of the circulation data. One of the important study is the Petersburg study. The researchers investigated the use of the documents in order to evaluate the acquisition policy in terms of the subsequent use and the device cost benefit model for use in collection management. The study defined the use in terms of the number of times the document is borrowed. The libraries involved in this particular study are the Hillman Library, the use of the journals in 6 science and engineering libraries, and in the third, the analysis of the cost of the library use and the cost benefit model of library operation. In conclusion, the study findings make recommendations to explore further the possibilities of resource sharing, and questions are raised about the implications of decision making in library acquisition. The case study is known as SLIS study, or the study of the School of Library and Information Science of the University of Western Ontario, Canada, on the use of document by the Canadian University Libraries. The main objective of this study was to characterize the document and user distribution. The main finding of the study was the frequency distribution of the transactions over the both users and the documents are in the reverse J-shaped, highly positive skewed and having a long tail. The study made several important conclusions on the use of the circulation transactions and their behavior. The evaluation of the collection. What is the need for the evaluation of the library's collection? Is for the services of the library. It is the awareness of the social responsibility of the library. It is ever increasing needs of the user, and it is about the financial constraints on spending on the collection development. Evaluation of the collection. General procedure or research designed for evaluation studies. Determination of the object and the reason for evaluation. Setting the level of performance according to the objective. Selection of technique for evaluation. Preparation of scale to measure the level of performance. Measuring the determining the extent of achievement, and evaluation as per the measurement of achievement. Evaluation process. Comprehensive evaluation covering all aspects of the library collection. For example, Carl White survey of the University of Delhi library system made the evaluation of the entire library system covering all aspects of the library. The study checked the standard bibliographies to assess the strength and weaknesses of the collection, used questionnaire and interviews to teachers and students to measure user satisfaction of the library services. Goldhar suggested an inductive method to compile complete list of library holdings in specified subject as compared with the several book reviewing and book selection tools. Continuing with the evaluation studies, one of the important evaluation studies by the Trueswell, which is very popularly known as 80-20 rule, in which it is stated that 20% of the library collection are used only for the 80% of the user. This is known as the 80-20 selection study rule, and it is devised by the Trueswell. The Trueswell states approximately 20% of the library holdings will account for about 80% of the circulation, which has been evolved by the author by conducting several investigations and publishing research papers. Examples of the evaluation studies also are there by Lancaster and Baker, In another study utilized the in-house use of the public libraries. The methods applied to collect data are table count, slip method, use of the questionnaire and the interview. Lancaster made 2 more studies covering the quantitative data of circulation records in-house and document delivery and shelf availability. Now we move to the evaluation of the e-resources. As the libraries are moving more and more towards the e-resources or the digital environment, the evaluation of the e-resources becomes very, very important. So far there were no such important parameters evolved for the evaluation of the e-resources, but recently the IFLA, that is International Federation for Library Association and Institutions, has come out with a guidelines to evaluate the e-resources, which comprises several parameters. What are the e-resources that are being evaluated by the IFLA guidelines? It consists of e-journals, e-books, full text aggregated databases, indexing abstracting databases, reference books, numeric and statistical databases, and the e-images and e-audiovisual resources. The evaluation guidelines consist of the content. For instance, the content will be available in different formats. Whether the content is compatible to the software that is being used by the library platform or the user desktop, that is one of the very important. Supposing I am having content in PDF format, if I do not have the particular interface in my library, then I will not be able to use that particular content. So the content has to be evaluated whether the acceptable format of the content is available or not in the e-resources. That is to be first evaluation parameter. The second one is the technical requirement. For instance, the technology is fast changing. For instance, several versions of the MS Office, for example MS Word, is coming quite frequently. Whether I have a technical requirements or capabilities are available in my library has to be evaluated. And the third one is the functionality and the reliability. After the survey the e-resources, whether the vendor is going to continue to give the service to us, that is the kind of the reliability has to be examined. And the third one is the vendor support. Now supposing I have a e-resource which is available in the full text, now suddenly he stops that particular thing, and whether the support for giving the archival material is available to me or not has to be considered from the point of view of the library. And the third one is the supply of the different kinds of accessories to use the e-resources, for example audio visuals and other kinds of other kinds of accessories to use the e-resources. These are the 5 different evaluation parameters suggested by the IFLA, that is International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions. We are going to move now to the last aspect of this particular module, that is the library statistics. What is the need for the study of the library statistics? What is the importance of the library statistics, and what are the standards and what are the sources of compilation of library statistics that are available? The modern library certainly cannot now be operated as though it were a passive repository of printed materials. This is where the application of statistics comes into picture. From simple numeric or arithmetic calculation such as number of books available, acquired, etc., the libraries are now gradually developing and using statistical models to describe various aspects of library use. We are moving to the next slide on the sources and standards of library statistics. Diaries maintained by the library staff from each functional section of the library is the best source for the library statistics. The library statistics standards or standards on library statistics are given by number of organizations like IFLA Library Statistics Manifesto. The IFLA Library Statistics Manifesto declares libraries and information services serve society for preserving memory, feeding, development, enabling education and research, and supporting international understanding and community well-being. ISO 2789 published in 2006 specifies rules for the library and information services community on the collection and reporting of statistics. Since 1968, NISO, National Institute for Standards Organization, has maintained a national standard for library statistics, that is NC-NISO Z39.7. Bureau of Indian Standards. Bureau of Indian Standards has come out with a number of standards for the libraries, and one of the standards, that is IS 12940 Documentation Library Statistics Guide, which was issued in 1990. American Library Association Office of Research and Statistics has issued guidelines for the compilation of the library statistics and the standard guidelines for the compilation of the library statistics. We study the types of library statistics. Three classes of library statistics have been identified: statistics of technical department, statistics of service department, and other statistics. For instance, the statistics of technical department consist of the classification, that is the number of books classified, number of books unclassified, number of books catalogued, how many books have been acquired, how many periodicals have been issued, how many serials have been acquired, and so on and so forth. The types of library statistics continue to be the circulation section and the reference section. For example, in the reference section, how many reference queries in a day have been answered by the reference librarian. The statistics of other departments includes the administrative statistics, such as the library staff, their strength, their qualification, experience, special skills, and so on and so forth, and the library budget and the finances, and the physical facilities, like the number of floors the library is there, what are the different kinds of reading tables are available in the library. In this module, we have studied the analysis of the circulation data and the quantitative study of the evaluation of the collection, and also in brief we have also studied the library statistics. The analysis of circulation data is very useful for the evaluation of the collection for the purpose of the collection development and the collection management. The library statistics is a prerogative for profiling the image of the library, and there are different sources and the standards for the compilation of the library statistics. Thank you.